You're on the Six Screens Telenetwork, earning the reputation of giving all the right ingredients, uninhibited, in exposing the hard, cold facts about the Watchtower Society. In Disney.
Well, hello everyone, and welcome into another rockin' awesome Saturday Night Live right here on the Six Screens Telenetwork. My name's Rick Ferrin, and this is JW World News. This is the original JW World News, doing it for close to 20 years. We're going to bring you the news. We're going to bring you the facts. We're going to bring you the truth about the Watchtower organization. Friends, I'm coming to you. My name is Rick Ferrin. I'm coming to you from the apostate capital of the world, right up here in Boston, Massachusetts. And it is so wonderful to have such a great audience. It seems like the momentum is continuing. We're getting so many new listeners. And you say, well, why is that? Well, I know why. I have the answer, and I think you guys do too. The Watchtower is hemorrhaging. More and more people are leaving the Watchtower, which means more and more people, they want to find out, well, what are the ex-witnesses saying about the Watchtower? Boy, you see all the YouTube channels, Mike and Kimmy, and all of these people are exposing the Watchtower. Keep it all up, because I'll tell you what it's doing. It's really making a difference in getting people to find the exit door at the Kingdom Hall. Boy, I'll tell you, I get excited. I don't know what it is, but I get excited every Saturday night. I've been doing this program now over 19 years. We're going on 20 years. And I tell you something, I get just as excited here tonight as I did 20 years ago. It's just amazing. My adrenaline starts pumping. I start feeling like, whoa, well, why do I do that? Why do you guys, as many listening into this program that started with us even going on 20 years ago, why is it that we have this? Is it a fetish? Is it some type of an obsession? Well, what is it we have to want to be exposing the Watchtower? I try to come up with explanations, but I think that this is such a heinous, evil, criminal, sinister organization that we have to expose it. These guys they're ruining people's lives. You just heard Anne Marie with her program, Touched by the Tentacles of the Watchtower, the people's lives that have been ruined. So yes, we're trying to stop people. This is a true adventure. I'm not making any money here. I'm not asking for patrons. I'm trying to help you on my own dime, as well as many people on YouTube and ex-witnesses are doing. I'm trying to help you to get yourself out of the organization, if you're still in it, to find the exit door. Well, anyways, I am glad to say that, we're going to have the first ex-Jehovah's Witness convention in August, it looks like. Still waiting for that date, but it looks like the 1st and 2nd and 3rd of August, the 3-day ex-witness convention right up here in Boston, Massachusetts. And wow, it is going to be wonderful. It looks like it's going to be at the Hilton Hotel. And what a beautiful hotel. I was in the lobby the other day. It is magnificent. You will not be disappointed. Now, look, we have 500 seats, just about 500 seats. And I'm giving tickets. The tickets are free. The tickets to come to the convention are free. So I've been asking people to email me, and we're up to 146 people, I believe it is. 145, 146. Now, I know I haven't emailed you back. I'm still waiting for the Hilton Hotel. I know I sound like a broken record, but I'm waiting for the Hilton Hotel to give me the dates. They won't do it because it's so far out. Now, that will be August 1st, 2nd, 3rd, it looks like, 2025, not 2024. So we got a while to really plan. We got some time here for you to save some money up. I'm just thinking, if you get an airline ticket wherever you're coming from or across the country, you could probably get, if you booked it pretty soon, you could probably get it for under $300 round trip. Because the further out you book a flight, friends, it's cheaper. And we're trying to make arrangements so people coming in from different parts of the country might be able to get a ride with one another and share the gas. We even have people who have mentioned to me that they will share a room. Some have even said they would even get a room for those that couldn't afford it. So that generosity really deserves a lot of thanks. We really appreciate it. So anyways, bear that in mind. Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Friday will be meet and greet. We'll have all the people that come in. They'll be able to tell their story of how they've been touched by the tentacles, and we'll probably spend 3 or 4 hours on Friday alone just trying to get through the whole audience. But bear in mind now, there's only about 500 seats, so those who write me first, you'll have numbered seats. After 500, it's potluck. I mean, you can still come. We'd love to have you, and you can kind of poke your head in the window or in the door and try to see what's happening, or watch us on live stream. It will be live streamed as well, but we're looking forward to it. It'll be a wonderful time, and I can't believe the amount of people. I didn't really think. Well, I was thinking about the protest on Halloween. Remember the protest they had down in Washington, D.C.? Well, there were 223 people, I believe, there. And so that got me thinking, wow, if 223 people show up for a protest, which everybody isn't into protesting, boy, maybe they'd like to have an next Jehovah's Witness convention. And sure enough, boy, oh boy, there's great interest. I'm thinking if this thing could even be annual, we'll get the first one under our belt, but I'm thinking we could probably fill a pretty good size arena, like a civic center or something. I think in the future we could probably get, thousands of people to come. Wouldn't that be exciting? And we could all share our stories on our trek in an evil cult. Boy, what a great time we all could have. Well, anyways, you see the duck up here. You see the duck. Yeah, we got the duck. He's right up here. I'll point to him. There he is right there. Now, if that duck comes down during the conversation, we have people calling in from all over the world. If you say the secret word, I have the secret words. There's 2 tonight, sealed in this envelope. If you hit both words, you get $50. If you hit both secret words, the same person hits both secret words, they get $50. If you hit one of the words, you get $20. So that's what we're going to do here tonight. At the end of the program, someone remind me if I forget, but I'll open the envelope and I'll show you what the secret words are. Now, sometimes I might miss it because I get so many people calling in. I'm trying just a one-man operation here. But if someone said the secret word and I miss it, let me know at the end of the program, and we'll be able to get you the money out. All right. So anyways, we're going to talk about, well, let's see, the regional convention. Oh, I wanted to mention, too, the app. A lot of people say, Rick, I live in Ireland. I live in Taiwan even. We have people calling from all over the world. So what I'm going to say is anyone who would like to call in for free, go to 6 screens of thewatchtower.com, and right there on the homepage, scroll down. It's under construction, but we still have stuff up there. We're putting stuff up right now. But get in there and get to the 6 screens of thewatchtower.com. Scroll down. You can get a free app, a telephone app, and you'll be able to call in anywhere in the world. Just a few countries that they don't allow, but you can call in for free anywhere in the world. So check that out. We do have a lot of people using that app. I see. I think we got Mark. Mark, did you want to come on and say something? We only have a little bit of time here, so keep it short.
Yeah. Hi, Rick. Hey, how you doing?
Good,
How's it going?
Good.
Yeah. This is Mark. Yeah, Rick. Well, you're doing a great job. You really, you're doing, a totally awesome job. So, hey, man, keep up the good work, man. You're reaching out to people. You're really helping people out. And really, your show is just exploding. It's getting more and more bigger and better and much more popular. So you're doing something right, Rick, and I'm very impressed. So, keep on going, man. You're doing a hell of a job, especially for a one-man operation. You're doing it not only very good, you're doing beyond good. So keep right on going, Rick. I was wondering, what's your, because I just tuned in just a couple minutes ago. What are your main topics for tonight?
Well, we're touching on the news now, so you sit back and relax, and we'll be touching on the news. You'll be hearing some stuff that I think will really rock the witness world. So hang in there with us, Mark, okay?
Oh, yeah. By all means, please rock the witness world, because, I'm loving every minute of it, Rick. I really am.
All right.
And you've really done great. And, hey, I'm with you. I'm always on your side, Rick, and you always have my 100% full support at all times. And And hey, man, I'm always going to be with you now and forever, and all the other ex-JWs out there as well too. I'm on everybody's side. I'm with everybody, and I support everybody.
Thank you, Mark. Your commission check will be in the mail, like I say. Thank you, Mark. All right.
Thank you, Rick.
Thank
Go,
you.
go, Rick.
All right.
Go, Rick. Go.
All right. Thank you. All right. Well, maybe you guys, I'll tell you what's going on right now. If you went to a Kingdom Hall, if you went to a Kingdom Hall right now, the Kingdom Halls are beginning to look like senior centers. Yeah, like your senior centers. I'm getting information coming into the 6 screens of a lot of people have been writing, actually giving me information concerning the Kingdom Halls they're attending. And they've been noticing that the average age of the people in the Kingdom Hall, they're like 60 and up. It's pretty much geriatric halls is what they could be called. In fact, some places they are calling Kingdom Halls geriatric halls because there's so many older people. Now, I know there's younger ones too. There's congregations that still have younger ones, but I have to tell you, they're being forced to attend. The little kids, I mean, they got to go with mom and dad. But when you get to be 16, 17, 18, come on, Johnny, come on, Cindy, let's go to the meeting. I mean, they're being forced to attend. They're certainly not doing it on their own. Yeah, well, congregations are evolving, there's no doubt about it, into a certain core group. And that core group seems to be elderly people. And many of the elderly people, they're mentally depressed. Now, I'm not going to say mentally diseased. I'm not even going to say that they are, but some people are getting too old and they don't know what to do. They're being forced to go to the meetings, and they're desperately clinging on to a fantasy. They keep going to the Kingdom Hall. So it's amazing to me how many older ones are still going. They haven't given up. Many young ones are. As a matter of fact, even one particular Bethel, I won't say where, but they call it Geriatric Park or Jurassic Park. I'm sorry. Jurassic Park, due to the average age of the people in this particular Bethel home is 70 years old. So, we see some situations taking place that don't look good for the witness world. Kingdom Halls are final resting places for the elderly Jehovah's Witnesses. That's the only way I can really speak of it. It's a resting place for old Jehovah's Witnesses. And they never expected to grow old. And then they thought that they would never grow old and die in this system. And their epitaph, what their epitaph should read is, I should be in the new system by now. Now, if you were still going to the Kingdom Hall, and I was in for 50 years of my life, so if I was still going now, I would be in for I'd be in for close to 70 years of my life. My epitaph would be the same thing. I should be in the new system by now. And I'm sure many older brothers and sisters are saying that, but, they just don't know what to do. It's called cognitive immobility. Well, that's a real term. Cognitive immobility. When you're stuck and you're too old to change, even if the move is right for you. Do you feel cognitive immobility? If you're an old person listening into our broadcast, we do get a lot of older seniors listening in. Do you feel cognitive immobility? You're too old, you're stuck, you're too old to change. It's like trying to teach an old dog new tricks, right? Some of the older people, they are stubbornly lazy. And I'm not picking on seniors. I'm a senior myself. I'm not picking on seniors. But some of the older people are stubbornly lazy, and they're afraid to accept a better, more truthful, honest reality. I'm talking about old Jehovah's Witnesses. That's what I'm talking about. They're afraid to accept a better, truthful reality. This is why the Watchtower right now is making monumental, drastic changes. Think about it. I just want you to put your thinking cap on here for a few minutes. The old faithful, that is the old Jehovah's Witnesses, well, they're going to be dead in 10 to 20 years. I'm more than likely going to be dead in 10 to 20 years. And they had to make this religion, they got the Jehovah's Witness organization, the Watchtower, they've got to make this religion more appealing. that they've got to keep the younger ones in. That there's newer generations coming up, and boy, they better start making this thing. They better start putting some color into it, some fantasy, something to keep the younger ones. Now, I'll tell you, I'm getting reports coming in all the time, and I've said this right along, but now I'm getting reports coming in, and it solidifies what I've been saying. Now, if you're in your 40s, I still think there's a fighting chance for you. If you're in your 40s and you get into 50s, it's a little more difficult. But many people in their 40s right now, 40s and down, they are realizing that, their baby boomer parents are going to be dying soon. And when the baby boomers die off, it's a slow sinking ship for the watch out. When these people go, all of these 40ish people right now, 40-year-old, 45, right up to 50, I would say, and going down, they're going to get up and pack their bags. The watchtower knows it. When the baby boomers are gone, that's it. So let's take a look here and see what else we got. So it's a slow sinking ship. It's all older people. And the watchtower really, take them off the grill. They're cooked. There's nowhere for them to go. And you've heard me say a million times on here, the monkey died. The show is over. We're on to their game. The world is on to their game. Now, can I say that with full authority? Is the world on to the Jehovah's Witness game? Yes. Did you hear the big news this week about Norway? I want to bring that up. I'm just going to mute Mark. I'm just going to mute you here. I'm just going to do it through the computer. All right. So did you know Norway? Well, they came down on the witnesses big time. Jehovah's Witnesses lose. I'm reading the headlines all across the internet. Jehovah's Witnesses versus Norway verdict. JWs lose. JWs have to. Mark, I'm going to ask you to mute yourself. Okay, Mark, mute yourself. Just mute yourself. It's *6. All right. Just mute yourself. Hit *6. So it's all over. It's all over the news articles on the internet. The world is now realizing Jehovah's Witnesses are bad. Let me just try to bring you up to speed on what went on in Norway. And we've talked about it here on the 6 screens numerous times. Then I'm going to open the lines up. We're all going to talk about it. But I got a lot to say right now about it. As we know, and we've been discussing here for the last year, Norway is ticked off with the Jehovah's Witnesses because they shun. They refer to it as expulsion. The Norwegian government says they expel people, and this causes isolation. So in Norway, like in all of the European countries, Jehovah's Witnesses get money from the government. Yes, they do. They get money from the government, and the government actually subsidizes their religion. So the more people you have in your religion, these European countries give these religions money. The more people, the more money. So Watchtower was making, I think it was about $1 million, $1 million something dollars. And they were getting that, I think, for a good part of 20 years. But within the last year and a half or so, Norway started finding out that Jehovah's Witnesses aren't the people they're supposed to be. And, for the Norwegian government to grant a religion to operate in their confines in the territory of Norway, they have to meet certain requirements. And one of the requirements is, you can't be isolating family members. You can't be shunning. You're supposed to create peace and unity. No government wants the Jehovah's Witnesses to displace families. You realize what the Jehovah's Witnesses cost governments when families are displaced and the people have to go on help from the government, little kids? It's a terrible situation. So Norway said, no, we're not going to give you this money because you're expelling people. So you stop expelling people or disfellowshipping people. We'll give you back the money. But the Watchtower didn't want to do it. So they complained and they took Norway to court. Can you imagine that? They said, okay, no, that's wrong. You owe us the money. We want it. Hey, the Watchtower is nothing but takers. Give me. So they wanted Norway to, hey, we don't take away our funds you're giving us. You don't understand our religion. We're doing it because it's based on the Bible. Well, Norway said, look, it's not right you're doing this. So so Watchtower, they took the Norwegian government to court. What were they thinking? Didn't they know this was going to be kind of shown to people all over the world what the Jehovah's Witnesses do to people when they're expelled and when they're disfellowshipped. And all of these cases came up, and the Norwegian government heard all these sad stories. Ex-Jehovah's Witnesses came forward and they spilled the beans on the Watchtower. So they just came up with a verdict this week. The verdict has been reached, and the trial between Jehovah's Witnesses and the state of Norway is now over. The witnesses lost. The state is acquitted. Now, what that means is the state's not guilty. They certainly have every right in the world to take that money away from the Watchtower, so they have been acquitted. Go Norway, go Norway. I just hope there's other countries that will follow suit. So anyways, let's talk about some money here. Let's get down to the money, because everything's about money, right? Everything's about money. So Jehovah's Witnesses have been sentenced to pay the court costs. What do you think the court cost would be? They were the ones that were suing or trying to say to the world that Norway is wrong. So they brought Norway to court. What do you think it cost the Watchtower to take Norway to court? $1.1 million. So there's more donation money and Seoul Kingdom Hall money going right down the drain. So they got to pay the Norwegian court system $1.1 million. And on top of that, they have all kinds of fees. And it was even suggested in the article concerning the suit that they're high-priced lawyers, and some evidently were from the outside. They just weren't Watchtower lawyers. That came to another $500,000 US. Friends, that's a lot of ice cream cones that Caleb and Sophia have to give up. $500,000 plus $1.1 million. And my way of doing math here, $1.6 million to take Norway to court, and they lost. Oh my goodness. So the court actually concluded that the conditions are met for denying the Jehovah's Witness subsidies. They don't have to give these subsidies, so they're not going to get them. So there's $1 million plus out the door every year now as well. And also what the country of Norway did is they took away their registration. Now, they took away their registration to be a religion in Norway. You say, whoa, my goodness, Rick, that's terrible. Well, it sounds worse than it is. In other words, the only thing they're not able to do, they still can go, they still can meet in their kingdom halls, they still can go out and service, but by taking their registration away, they cannot marry anybody. So Jehovah's, if you're a witness in Norway and you want to get married to another witness, you're going to have to go to a justice of the peace or someone else that can perform a marriage. So there you have it. There you have it. I mean, so isn't that good news? Jeez, I tell you, I was so happy. People were writing me. I was so happy to hear this. Unbelievable. So I think it was happy, folks, that happens. So, so now the Watchtower is getting picked on, for practicing shunning by Norway. Now, do you think the Watchtower would appeal this? If they do this stupid, I mean, it's just going to bring more, name recognition and badness to the Jehovah's Witness religion. You think they would just walk away, their tail between their legs, and forget about it? Oh no, they're not though. You watch. Watchtower is going to appeal this. You watch, and they're just gonna expose themselves all over the world and how bad they are. In fact, even the lawyer for Watchtower, his name is Anders Risdell. He's the lawyer for the Watchtower, and they asked him, "Are you going to appeal this, Mr. Risdell?" And he said, "Well, he's not sure." He says they have to carefully look at this and decide whether they're going to appeal before the deadline. The deadline to appeal is just over a month. It's due right around Easter. Well, it's about a month from now, a little after Easter. So anyways, there you have it. So if they do this appeal, they have to think about this. There's got to be heavy consideration here, because if they just do an appeal, the whole world, all the European nations, they're going to find out how evil the Watchtower is. And the Watchtower, boy, I'll tell you what, if I was an official at the Watchtower, I'd have to give this some serious thought, because you'd have to really be certain of winning, and yet you could beat this. If they lose, They're dragging their hurtful policies and practices into public domain. And it's not a good business decision. It really, really isn't. Now, of course, they're going to tell, well, what do you say is going to happen when all the Jehovah's Witnesses going to the Kingdom Hall? You say, well, what are they going to say? How are they going to handle the Kingdom Hall? Well, we know what they'll say. We'll know what they'll say. They'll just claim that it's persecution. But I have to come back here with a counter argument. It's not persecution. Their activities are not being stopped. The only thing being stopped is performing marriages. But this all boils down to money. No, it's not they're not being persecuted. They can still operate their religion in Norway. But it boils down to the Watchtower not getting this charity money or this subsidy. So the government said, hey, your practices are harmful. We're not going to support you anymore. So if the Jehovah's Witnesses appeal this, it'll really be crazy. It will really be crazy. But the brothers and sisters, they're just going to spin it as, oh, this is a sign of tribulation. The government is turning on God's chosen people. I would love to see the mental gymnastics to explain this one away. Really? So who are the Jehovah's Witnesses the Watchtower going to go to in Europe? Are they going to go to the EU Commission on Human Rights? I wouldn't touch that if I was an official of the Watchtower with a 10-foot pole. That could get you in more trouble. Gee, maybe you might lose your whole charity status in all of Europe if you do that. So they're in a pickle. Did you ever hear of the domino effect? Oh, the domino effect. This, I believe, could happen. If Watchtower continues to appeal this or in any way bring it to public's attention, many governments will be looking with great interest, and this will be a test case. This could be a test case. They could fall over one country after another. I forget how many countries there are in Europe. I think it's 22. I'm not sure. But say 22, they could lose a lot of money. So do you know why? We have to stop and just think here for a second. Why, in goodness name's sake, does the Watchtower get money as a charity when they're supposed to be a charity? They get this subsidy from the government in Europe. You say, well, why do they get money? Why would Europe give religions money for this? Well, it's different than the United States. In the United States, we have the welfare system. And the government doles out the money to poor people. Poor people, many of them do deserve it, many don't. But the government hands the money out to the people. The religions don't do it. Now, in Europe, the religions kind of help the government. The government gives money out too, don't get me wrong. But they feel that if a religion's worth its weight in salt, it would help the people. It would set up soup kitchens. It would help the drug people. It would help alcoholics. It would help the poor to find homes and help them. So that's what the government gives money to the churches for in Europe, because it's given because they feel most churches, they're going to help people. But now Norway's getting a real understanding of Jehovah's Witnesses. They're getting a mouthful. No, we're not going to give any money to these people. They're wicked. So anyways, I can't find, I got online, I tried to find any reference of the Watchtower organization giving money to anyone in this country. I really can't see it. And they don't do anything monetarily to help people. We know that. We're going to be talking a little bit tonight, too. I got a story on the homeless I got to share with you right up here in Lowell, Mass. And I got a story on a homeless Jehovah's Witness I want to talk about. All right, so there you have it. So do you have any thoughts on Norway? Well, what do you think about Norway? Are you guys happy? Go ahead. Come on. Say hello to us. Hit *6 on your telephone. What do you think? Isn't it great? Thomas, what do you think? Yeah, we got one caller first. Stefan, hold on, Stefan. Let's go with Thomas, and we'll go to Stefan. Go ahead, Thomas.
Yeah, I ought to call in for a change. I just keep waiting for others to talk, and I never really give myself a chance. So yeah, it's good to make a comment. I was just going to say, Rick, it's good to see that. I hope that'll follow suit with many other countries, and I'm really looking forward to something happen here in the United States. They haven't really done much here, but I'm hoping that by the next time the election rolls around, we'll start seeing some action coming against these bums for hurting so many people. And, the stunning and the pedophilia, the blood doctrine, all these things, they need to be dealt with. I hope they'll ban them clear out of the country in time.
Well, I'm on the same train you're on, Thomas. I'll agree with you on that one. Thank you, Thomas, for checking in with us. Go ahead, Stefan, out of Chicago. You're on with us. Go ahead, Stefan.
I just had a quick thought. I mean, I was glad to hear that they lost. Money is kind of a side point. I mean, if we're talking a couple $1 million one way or the other, that's chunked in for them. But what's really important is that hopefully this becomes a precedent. This becomes a legal precedent. And perhaps other countries in Europe will look at this and say, well, why are we giving these people X amount of money when they obviously don't do anything charitable, which is why Norway defunded them in the first place. So hopefully that precedent will be set in Europe. And then for those of us in the ex-witness community, this is yet another talking point that we can use when we engage with these people, how even countries are defunding them because they do nothing charitable.
Well, isn't it great, Stefan, that the world is catching up?
It is.
The world is catching up on these bums, and it is inhumane.
Yeah, this really is the only tactic that's really going to work to force any kind of change in Watchtower, whether you're looking for them to change policies such as shunning or the blood policy, or you'd like to see them just kind of go by the wayside. This is really the only thing that's kind of effective. Making sure that their reputation continually takes a hit, and then for other countries to come and say, we're not going to be funding you for you to be, influencing your people to commit suicide because their friends and family has been taken away from them. Those are the only two tactics that's really going to work to shut this thing down.
Well, you're absolutely right. Well, thank you, Stefan, for calling in. Always love to hear from you. I believe we got another Chicago caller coming in. I believe that's Mark. Mark, do you want to say something?
Hey, Rick, how you doing? Yes, thank you, Rick. Yeah, Rick, I heard your whole report, and it sounded very interesting. It also sounded really good, and I think Norway is doing the right thing, and they're cracking down hard on the Jehovah's Witnesses, and I'm hoping to see that with the rest of all the other foreign countries, and especially to the United States, and Canada, all of them, just crack down on them and nail them in every way they can possible, 100%, because at least Norway is seeing, how just evil these Jehovah's Witnesses really are, and how, and they are just, they're no good. And there's just nothing but total corruption among them, and a lot of very evil things going on among their organization. So I think in due time, all the rest of the countries, including the United States, are going to catch on and take action against the Jehovah's Witnesses, just like Norway is specifically at this time. So that's something very, very encouraging, the way I see it, and very, very, to me, very inspiring. So yeah, Rick, you're doing a hell of a job. You're keeping up to date with the Watchtower and the governing body, Jehovah's Witnesses. Hey, you're doing great.
Well, thank you, Mark. No, the thing is, too, I know these bums, the Watchtowers turned your life really upside down. You went through a lot of, you went through a lot of turmoil and really tremendous difficulty with these nuts. And it's so good. Yeah. It's so good. I'm sure you can sit back and say, man, I'm glad to see their days coming. Well, thank you, Mark. Always good to hear from Mark Tapp. Thank you. All right.
You're welcome, Rick.
All right. Thank you. All right. So now I think we can talk about a very damaging article this week in the Watchtower Study Edition. Where we talked last week about how women, should put the spiritual interest first and really think about the marriage and think about a lot of other things. Doing work that could benefit them. They really want the women last week to really put Jehovah first in their life and put all of the everything, resources, the efforts, everything in life into the Watchtower. Well, the same thing this week with men. So let's just talk a little bit about the damaging effects the Watchtower this week could have on men. Now, first, I'm going to just talk about, the milestones, the main milestones to this article, what I gathered, every boy should grow up in the truth. Oh, this is going to make a real man out of people, right? Growing up in the truth. Now, every boy, they should become a full-time minister, an auxiliary pioneer as soon as they can. They should get appointed as a ministerial servant. Many of them, in fact, even in their teens, their late teens, they're now using as ministerial servants. And if you're in your 20s, the Watchtower here is even suggesting that you should be on your way to being an elder. Now, as soon as you turn 20, come on, buddy, where are you? Why aren't you reaching out more? You should be an elder by now. I mean, this is probably what they're hearing in the congregation. But, before their brain even becomes mature enough, really, now think about it. Were you a mature person when you were 18, 19, 20 even? But before your brain even becomes mature enough for full rationalizing and thinking properly, they don't give you any second thoughts at all. That they want to get you when you can't even think for yourself. This is what you should be doing. And then they want you to get married. The Watchtower's always wanted young ones to marry really early. Get them married and bring all these little followers into the so-called truth. This study article irked me. So here they are saying how that you want to be very, scrupulous and about who you're going to get to marry, and she should be a spiritual woman and all of this. But you were never ever allowed when you were a young man to be in a company with a sister without a chaperone. And you really, really couldn't even get to know her until she became your wife. So this is really why there is so many bad marriages in the Watchtower. But that's another story. We'll let that one go for now. I think Dick and Connie are going to be talking about that tonight. But the Watchtower, they're trying to get these young people. Hitler did the same thing. He had the Hitler Youth Corps, and he wanted to get young people, get them in early, get them indoctrinated. Well, the Watchtower is doing the same thing. But, I'll tell you, and then the article, this part of the article really got me upset. They're kind of suggesting that, don't listen to anybody in the world. They're going to tell you really to get an education and go forward and learn and be able to make a good living. But they're telling you, don't listen to these people. They're saying that everything these people are saying basically is stupid. So it's stupid to encourage a young person today with the cost of living, even just trying to find a place to live. You certainly can't make it on, one little part-time job. But here is the Watchtower trying to say that don't listen to people. They're going to tell you to do this and that. And these are stupid people, in essence, is what they're saying. Don't listen to any outside sources about what type of a person you should be. Well, wouldn't you want to encourage a young person today? Do you see the cost of living? Hey, have you looked at the meat department lately? I was looking at a little piece of meat last night. A little piece of meat. I'm talking a nice little piece of steak. It wasn't even a great piece of steak. It was a piece of ribeye steak, $20 for that little piece. And in fact, I don't know if you people ever saw the movie Soylent Green. But, in the movie, Charlton Heston was starring in the movie, and they showed a meat case of the future. Well, this was back in the 1970s, I saw the movie, but it showed like peanut butter $5 a jar. Well, that's what it is today. They showed meat, $20. That's what it is today. So would you encourage your kids or young ones coming to you? No, don't go to school. I would pioneer. I would spend my time washing windows and going out in the ministry. Oh, yeah, that's great advice. Then also in the article, they start saying, don't listen to worldly people. Don't listen to the fashion world. Basically, the fashion world is all homosexual people. Well, many of them are, they're not doing things that are masculine. I would say that many are homosexual people. Look, don't nail me on this. I'm not saying that homosexuals aren't masculine, but many of them aren't. We all know that, right? So they're saying, don't listen to them or anyone that's going to tell you to wear tighter clothing, and don't listen to anyone that's going to make you have unmanly ways about you. Don't let them turn you into a feminine person. And so many, I have to tell you, there's so many Jehovah's Witnesses I know anyways, that they're not homosexuals, but they're very effeminate. They're very like girly men. Have you ever noticed that? Many Jehovah's Witnesses are very good. No, not all. I'm not making a blanket statement, but many I knew, I don't know why. I don't know if the Watchtower, the way they treat men, it makes a lot of men very feminine. They have signs of femininity, not masculinity. No, not all. I've seen masculine witnesses too. Don't get me wrong. So anyways, wouldn't you tell a young person today that you should learn to support yourself? Well, the Watchtower did say that, so I'm not gonna. They did say it'd be good if you could support yourself, find a skill that works for you, and be humble to others. Well, that's good advice. I'm not going to say that's bad advice. So, but the whole problem here is giving total strict adherence to traditional ideals, which a Watchtower wants you to feel. The traditional ideal for a witness person, a young person, is pioneer. Don't go to school. Well, right as soon as you get out of high school, get right into the pioneer work. Oh, Jehovah will bless you for that. But I'll tell you what really, can you imagine the massive pressure that would be on a young Jehovah's Witness man? I know when I was young, when I was 19, 20, come on, Rick, reach out. Come on, Rick, come on. Why aren't you reaching out? You should be reaching out more. You're not doing enough. You're not going in service more. The massive amounts of pressure that they put on a Jehovah's Witness young man is pathetic. And, even when a young man, is at 18, 19, are you reaching out to be a ministerial servant? Come on, everybody else is. You should be doing it. And then the other problem is when they're in their 20s even. Now these young ministerial servants are being asked, well, why aren't you an elder yet? And some of them feeling like, gee, people are thinking that maybe I've been reproved and maybe they think I've done something wrong, so I can't be an elder. This puts massive dosage of anxiety and pressure, the weight of expectation, the status, reputation in the hall is tremendous. What are people going to think of me? I should be an elder. I should be a ministerial servant. It's articles like this that I really see really destroys young men and women. Watchtower should be ashamed of themselves. Totally, totally ashamed. Were you a young man or a woman that was going to give all of your life's resources when you were young to the Watchtower? I'd like to hear what you have to say. Go ahead. You're on with us.
Yeah, Rick.
Yes.
Yeah, Rick. Yeah, hi, Rick. It's Tim.
Hi.
Just going to comment on what you said about the masculinity thing. The organisation takes that away because they're like a communist government in a sense. They're all about the collective, not individual. Men weren't allowed to have beards. So anything masculine, it's looked down upon in a sort of a sense. They make you weak. They make you listen to everything they say, and that's why a lot of people leave that organisation not able to stand on their own feet. That's why they think they can say what they want to people, rude things, family members. They think elders and that, they think they can say what they want to you, and a lot of ex-witnesses are still in the mindset of not standing up for themselves. You have to become a strong person and stand up for yourself, and it's not something they put in you. What was I going to say? I think I've lost my train of thought there. But it's just not a good mental space for anyone to be in because they don't like free thought, and that's why I was going to say a lot of people that leave it. They're more left wing, even though they think witnesses are conservative and right wing. They're not. I mean, not trying to make it political, but right wing are more about standing up for personal rights. Left wing is more about the communist, groupthink type of thing. And witnesses are taught that, submission to the government and all that type of a thing, and submission to authority. And that's why their masculinity is at a lower level. It's noticeable that they are like that. If you stand up, if you speak firm with them, you don't have to be rude, but if you reply to them and put them in their place, most of them will never, they won't stand up for themselves. They're going to run away because they're scared. They're not used to being talked to by someone that has a bit of self-esteem. Yeah, thanks, Rick.
Wow, well said. Thank you for calling in from Australia. Appreciate it, Tim. Really, really do. Always good to hear from you. Thank you. Yes, go ahead, Stephen.
This is Stephen. I'll tell you just a really quick story. In early 20-year-old got invited to a gathering, and that was going to feature 3 visiting acolytes. And we had to get dressed up just like we were going to a meeting. So me and my buddies, we did. And we get there, and these were three of the most feminine guys I had ever seen. The way they talked, and they were telling their experiences in Bethel. And one of my friends literally stood up and said, "Put a dress on that." And we all left, and we were outside playing football. But the point that I'm making is, I've seen a lot of the best wives, and the ones that I've met, to me, were very feminine.
Okay.
Well, that's interesting. That's well. Thank you, Stefan. Thank you very much. Okay. Anyone have any further thoughts on that? Okay. All right. Well,
Yeah, right. Just a quick thought.
yeah.
I think Gilbert mentioned it. I'm sure it was Gilbert a couple of weeks ago that on the governing body there was no testosterone. There was only like one. I think that was Tony Typants. Was the only one who was a father. So I think you might be onto something there. There was no testosterone on that governing body. Thanks, Rick.
Well, yeah, I did hear Gilbert say that. I found that fascinating, Dick. Yeah, it's the more we dig, and people might be listening in here for the first time and say, "Geez, Rick, what do you guys do all the time? Rat and speak out against the watchtower?" Yeah, that's what we do. That's what we do. I mean, I hope it doesn't offend anybody, but we tell the truth. And we will have anyone come on here, a governing body member, anybody that would like to speak up and talk. We'd love to listen to them. Okay, we got 615. You're on with us. Go ahead, 615. All right, 615. You want to say something? You're on with us.
Yeah, Rick, I'm sorry, buddy. I lost my train of thought.
All right, that's all right. No, you get it back. Is it something about effeminate men? Is it something about...
Oh, yeah, actually, I remember now. Thank you. There was an elder that I went to Chile and South America with, and I grew up with him. And when I was a pioneer and went out in service all the time, we call him Peter Pan. His name is David Nichols, and Riverside, Rhode Island congregation. We call him Peter Pan because he always hangs out with the kids, and he's not a creep. It's not like that at all. He's just immature. The three types of people that he doesn't like the most, and this is an elder, and if I offend anyone, just remember that this isn't me, this is him. He doesn't like black people. He doesn't like handicapped people. And what's the other one? There's a trifecta. Black people, handicapped people, and fat people. And this guy's an elder. He's still an elder. And it's known that. And there was a woman, she's black and, heavy set, fat. And she had a horrible accident happen to her out in service, I think she was, or maybe it wasn't service, but she was crossing the street and she got hit by like a truck, and she had to get her leg amputated, and now she was handicapped. And people in the congregation would go, "Oh, Dave Nichols, it's a trifecta for her. He's really not going to like her now." This is common talk in the congregation. Isn't that sad and sick? This is Jehovah's One and True organization. Now, to top it off, to tie in what you're talking about, Rick, the man was extremely feminine. Everyone thought he was gay. I mean, he was married to a woman who was a little bit overweight, too. So we're all thinking to ourselves, why is this guy living in a glass house throwing rocks?
Well, I mean, being an elder, too.
I thought it was an important story to tell, to show the corruption and just, this is who these elders are. This is who these guys are. This guy was on a committee of mine when I was smoking pot, and he was taken off immediately because he called me a drug addict and an alcoholic because I would come home and have a beer or two and drink and smoke a joint.
In fact, Eric.
Anyways, I thought I'd share that with you. These men are extremely, extremely feminine. He talks like this, and he's just very, very feminine.
well, no, that's a good story. You just got me thinking a little bit about a story. One of my cousins, he wasn't one of Jehovah's Witnesses, but his wife wanted to divorce him. So they went to court, and the wife wanted to divorce him. So they went to court, and the judge says, "Okay, Tina, why do you want to divorce your husband?" So she says, "Well, he comes home every night and he has a few beers." So the judge says, "Well, what's wrong with that? I do the same thing." So it's not a sin, but some people will make it that. But that elder that you are talking about here, that's prejudice. That's prejudice. And I'm even surprised they don't take that into account when they appoint an elder. They They don't, though. I don't know of anywhere in the flock book that it says
He was removed for a short time because of inappropriateness as an elder, but came back.
Yeah.
They brought him back in, and I'm sure he still is one today. He's one of those guys. You know how Jim Carrey tells a joke, and he says you can get away with anything if after you say something you give like a smile or a big smile or a laugh. And it's one of those jokes like you need to do visually, but it's basically like you can say the most awful thing. You're black, handicapped, and fat. Wow, it's trifecta why I don't like you, and then give this big grin. It's like he has this way of selling himself while he's insulting you. Yeah. He used to make fun of me all the time. He'd say, "You're like a scarecrow. You have no meat on you." When I was a teenager, because I was like 120 pounds, 6'1".
Yes. Well, I thought
I'd let the audience know if there's a bunch of wacko elders out there. If there's any teenies listening or the PIMQs or anybody questioning, the elders, these guys are regular guys, and they're not even regular guys. They're below average. They're below average intellect and empathy. But anyways, Rick, I've gone on long enough. Great topic.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Okay, we get 513, is it? 513. Come on, you're on with us. I think it's the King of Dots.
Oh, Rick.
There he is. Yeah. There's the King.
Fortunately for you, Rick, it's the King of Dots, man.
Yeah.
Anyway, he's reminded me of old stories. I had football parties from like 2010 up to 2020 when COVID started. I had every fader and disfellowship person in the area coming over here, okay? And one of them was an ex-brother-in-law of my stepdaughter. And he has to pour out his soul to all of us. He got disfellowship for the fourth time. He was an elder, and he told us, I got addicted. He had to spill out his soul. I got addicted to picking up prostitutes every single day when I was an elder. That's what he told us, you know. It was pathetic. He was making like $150,000 a year, running his own lawn company, and he got bought out. And then he got his secretary pregnant too. He's paying child support for her and paying $60,000 a year child support to his other wife, witness wife, for a kid. And my wife told me, she said, "Don't you ever let that piece of shit back in our house again." That's what she said to me. It was just a terrible thing to hear this guy go down. Here's the worst part of it. Just before I got deleted, for the year before I got deleted, he got reinstated for the third time, and I was training him for all of my responsibilities, running the territories and the literature. Big deal, right? Anyway, the overseer comes up to me and tells me, "Oh, I don't want you to think we're replacing you." Well, sure enough, they were replacing me. But this loser, we're not training him to replace me. Oh my God, just the thought of it. Someone that lascivious. He was raised in the truth from infancy. That's the worst part. I didn't come until I was like 22, 23 years old. It's an insult to me, quite frankly. And I'm not going to let it go. I'm just simply not going to let it go. Thank you, Rick.
Well, yeah, just one question I had for you. Now, just one question I had was that fellow that was in the lawn business and seeing prostitutes every day, you say he was an elder at the time?
Yes, he was an elder at the time. In fact, he came to my next hall when I was deleted, I switched halls. And they tried to keep me from switching, but I did anyway. The city overseer told me, I think it's a good idea. He knew what was going on. Anyway, he was at the hall. He did a talk in like 20 minutes, a public talk. It was like he was rattling off like he was high on speed or something. And the congregation overseer knew I was related to him at the time, and comes up to me and says, what was that, Rick, Uncle? What was that? And I said, I don't know, Brother Carnes, what it was. It was unfreaking believable. The things I've seen in Watchtower, it's like some sort of sitcom, situation comedy. That's got to be canceled. Cancel it now.
I'm with you, but no, that's a good way to describe it. But it's not pristine, pure, and clean like all the witnesses think. My God, it's got all kinds of problems.
Yeah, but the problem they have is they keep trying to cover it up, and everybody knows what's going on. You can't hide it, and the more they try to cover it up, the more it metastasizes. You see what I'm saying? You can tell a patient, "Oh no, you don't have cancer. You don't have cancer." Guess what happens? It keeps growing, right?
That's exactly what happened. Well, the world isn't it great, King of Dots? Though what we're seeing, isn't it refreshing? Isn't it exhilarating to see the witness world crumbling? Jace, yeah.
Yes, I'm having a good old time. You too, Rick. Okay.
Well, thank you. No, always good to hear from you. Now, hey, listen, you keep staying the King of Dots. Don't you change on us. Thank you.
I may become the Prince of Dots soon. So
All right. Well, I like to
get demoted. I may get demoted.
Yeah. Well, we know another prince that got demoted too. All right. Thank you. Thank you. All right. That's the King of Dots. Did you guys hear about that Kingdom Hall in Ontario, Canada? It just sold for $1.4 million. When I saw that come across the
could I say something before we get off that subject?
Yeah, I mean, okay. Now listen, go ahead and say it. All right.
I think where some of this problem came from with the pussification of the young boys is because they split up families, and the women take the children to the Kingdom Hall instead of letting them hang out with their fathers and the men and the construction workers and the hunters and the real men that get out there and do stuff. And they don't have time. They left the religion part of their family life up to the women. And then they take the children to the Kingdom Hall and they turn them into pioneers. And that kind of stuff.
Well, that's very.
They only take them. Go ahead.
I was going to say, Wyatt Earp, that's very sensible. That what you're saying there is true. What you're saying there is true. Fortunately, no, I grew up as a little witness. My father wasn't one. He was a construction guy, but he took me to work and he tried to teach me the good, the pure, and the positive. But my mother, of course, would take us to the Kingdom Hall. And that's exactly what happens. Boy, if your father was a witness too, you never grow up as a boy, a real boy. I mean, it can really mess you up,
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you, Wyatt. Well, that made sense. Okay, as long as you listen, you hang in here. Makes sense, and we like to hear from you. Thank you.
Yeah, this stuff started back in the 60s and 70s. Well, in the 80s, there was Vietnam vets. There was construction workers, welders, steel workers, guys that worked on bridges and buildings and stuff, and they didn't have time to, they barely got to come home and see their kids. And these guys, the women, the pioneers would come by and sweep up their family and take them to the Kingdom Hall. And they thought it was something kind of innocent, and just turned them all into a bunch of little girls.
Well, I have to say, I mean, there's a lot of witness men I have noticed are very effeminate, but some aren't. I mean, there's some masculine ones too, so I can't make a blanket statement. But what you did is give a good explanation, Wyatt Earp. You gave a good explanation on one of the reasons why that might happen. Very good. Thank you. Good to hear from you. Thank you. All right. So anyways, did you hear about that Kingdom Hall up in Ontario, Canada? Well, this week it sold for $1.4 million. And then that got my attention, folks. It really, really did, because real estate all around the world, I mean, especially here in America, let's just stay here, is really going to the moon. I mean, the prices on it. So the Watchtower is making out like bandits on this. The hall was sold. The Watchtower actually wanted that hall sold during COVID. Actually, I guess a little even before COVID, but the Elmira congregation that's 45 years old, they dragged their feet and they didn't really follow the Watchtower directions. They wanted it sold at COVID, and they didn't do it. So there was a lot of infighting in the congregation. Some really weren't that happy about selling the Kingdom Hall off because they at one time they had 1 and 2 congregations, and they had 4 congregations going there. So then the Watchtower shut it down and they sold it off. The brothers sold it off, and a lot of them, I'll tell you right now, a lot of the people seem to be very unhappy because this happened. But the point I wanted to make with this is the fact that they when they sold the hall off, the Watchtower wanted them to sell it off, like I said, during COVID. So when they finally did sell it just this week, the elder made a statement to the congregation. He says, "Well, isn't it good? We got Jehovah's blessing. Jehovah was with us, and he helped us to not want to sell it during the COVID pandemic because we get more for it now." Typical, witness statement. Unbelievable. So anyways, I just thought I'd bring that up. $1.4 million for a Kingdom Hall. Look at the money the Watchtower's taken in, right? It's unbelievable. All right. So anyways, let's move on here. We got a lot to discuss tonight. We got more programs coming up here on the 6 screens too. About another hour from now, we have Dick and Constance Borghi, sex, this world of sex in the Watchtower. They'll be talking about that again tonight. Remember the bedroom laws and all of that? Well, they're going to bring you right up to speed on what that was all about. So they're coming on tonight at 9:30, and we're looking forward to Dick and Constance Borghi coming on tonight. So anyways, let's move on here and see exactly what the next story is. And yeah, this was quite the story. This was a big story that I want to cover this week. I didn't want this one to go away because all of a sudden, the Watchtower seems to be removing rules that were so steadfast when we were all witnesses. Beards is one of them. Reporting time is another one. But information coming into the 6 screens this week actually shows they're going to remove a lot more rules. And some of these rules now, they're going to say, well, it's up to your conscience. It's conscience guided advice. They're no longer going to make a hard, fast rule on it. Like I say, we've seen this happen with the beards. We've seen it happen with the idea of no more time reporting. But now what we're going to talk about here is going to make the beard gate probably come right out of the water here. We're going to talk about birthdays. There are reports out there. Now, don't take this to the bank and cash it, but there are reports out there that are coming across, and we're getting information coming into the 6 screens by some reliable, in this particular case, by a reliable Bethelite. So I'm not going to name names here, but this information coming in, they're saying that the Watchtower is going forward with the idea of now celebrating birthdays. They're not going to call it a birthday. They're going to call it a birthday, a birth anniversary, a birth anniversary. Yep, they're not going to refer to it as birthday, but a birth anniversary. And actually, when I used to think a lot about birthdays when I was a Jehovah's Witness, and you got to stop and think. They have baby showers, right? Now, they have a baby shower. The baby's not even born yet, but in a way, that's like a birthday, right? Even before, you can't call it a birthday, but it's kind of like that. But they would have a shower, but they wouldn't have, they wouldn't celebrate it when the little baby was born. So it's basically like a pre-birthday party, you could say. And all the sisters used to get together and go to the birthday and go to the showers, but they couldn't go to a birthday party. So this is new light, friends. This is all new light. And they're going to make a lot of these hard, fast rules, according to this Bethelite that's giving me some information here. And it's going to be, the rules are going to be, it's going to be up to your conscience, whether you want to celebrate it or not. So it's going to be referred to a birth anniversary, not a birthday. Now, of course, they're not going to allow for traditional birthday cake and candles. That seems to be off the table, according to this Bethelite. They're not going to allow for that. But this, from what I understand and what I've been told, is going to go into effect this fall. But my friends, don't take it to the bank and cash it. This is just what I've been told. So I can't say it's for sure, but it's supposed to take place this fall. This cult.
Rick.
Yes.
It's Jerry.
Yes.
I want to chime in on that. I commented on Anne Marie's program, and I forgot this little point. When my wife and I, we were talking about gray areas. She's still in, just to give a little context, she's still in. And we were talking about gray areas where we wouldn't even talk about it before. I would, but she wouldn't, whether you should work on a military base, stuff like that. And I give her two examples. Okay, that's all I was on the program. I'm not going to go with that. But she brought this up, and I forgot to mention it. She says it is a matter of conscience. It would be a matter of conscience. She reiterated that over and over and over again, and that's kind of the gist I'm getting, not only on what you're getting, but on other YouTubers are saying that, even previous to the comment that you made. The conscience thing is coming on. And so, in my opinion, it's a good thing that my wife said that, but then it's really not a good thing that she's getting it from the Watchtower. Okay. I hope she got it from somewhere else, but I'm thinking she got it from the Watchtower. That's all I got.
Oh, that's good. Thank you, Chewy. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Yeah, that's what I hear. And now this is going to go into effect from what I've been told here, information from this Bethelite, that it's going to go into effect this fall. So you'll be able to have a birth anniversary. It's a birthday, really, when you stop and think about it, but they're not going to call it that. I mean, how can you call it that when you've been condemning it for all these years? So you got to change the name and everyone goes along with it. How foolish is that? It's total cult control. That what they're trying to do, what the Watchtower is trying to do, is they're trying to adapt to a new generation. Yeah, there's a new generation. The baby boomers are going to be out of here in 10, 20 years. So we got a whole brand new generation, and they're going to try to keep these young ones fooled as well. 714, what do you have to say?
Hi, Rick. It's Nadine calling.
Hi, Nadine.
Hi. I was going to say, if I'm going to celebrate a birthday or a birthday anniversary or whatever, or what do they call it, a birth anniversary, I'm having cake. And that's all there is to it. And nobody can stop me. And how can they regulate that? That is ridiculous. This is the craziest thing I've ever heard, that you can't have cake.
Yeah, I mean, you would think that you could have the cake without the candles, maybe. But I guess they're just associating cake with the traditional birthday as we know it. I mean, it's foolish. You're right. That's crazy thinking, Nadine. That's crazy thinking.
It's beyond ridiculous.
Yeah.
So that's what I have to say about that.
Well, Nadine, you should write a book about the witnesses called Beyond Ridiculousness.
I could, actually. I could. I have a lot of experiences, and I know a lot of stories, and I have friends that married elders and wife swapping and just on, and having to go to the Betty Ford Center because the Pioneer sister, was an alcoholic. I mean, I have so many stories to tell. So, but this is crazy about the birthday thing. I mean, if they're going to say you can celebrate anniversary birth or birthday anniversary or whatever it is, that is just ridiculous. They don't call it a birthday because they want to still be different. They still want to be a little bit different than everybody else. And it's too much. It's too much.
Well, Nadine, I know when you come out of the dugout, you usually have something to say because that kind of gets you a little bit aggravated. It would get anybody aggravated. Yes.
It does. I mean, the next thing will probably be like for Christmas, but they'll probably call it something crazy and say that you can exchange one present, but you can't have a tree. I mean, it's just getting crazy because they're just trying to make everything so mainstream so that regular people might be interested in becoming one. I don't know what the deal is. Because what they have going now, people are just leaving. They don't want to have anything to do with it. So that's why there's the beards and not going out in service and I don't know. And cutting down like on the meeting times during the week, everything.
Well,
So
they're trying to, they got to look at it's hemorrhaging, Nadine. We know it, they know it. The Watchtower is hemorrhaging people. So what they've got to do is I'm sure they talked to the powers to be. They must have went to crisis management people or whatever outside of the Watchtower and said, what are we going to do? We are losing people. And so these people who study this say, well, look at, how do you expect to get people if they can't celebrate a birthday? How do you expect to get people if you make them report time out in service? How do you expect to get people if you tell them they can't have a beard? So somebody's feeding them this, and they're going to keep going with this because it's going to work. I mean, this is a do or die situation for the Watchtower. And you said something in that little conversation we just had here that got me thinking. You said they always have to be different, and they do. That they have to be different. They'll take something and twist it. They don't want to call where they meet a church. That's what every Christian organization calls where they meet at church. No, we got to call it a kingdom hall,
Right.
So
why did they call it a kingdom hall? That's crazy. I never did understand that.
But you're right, they have to be different. And not only that, but Nadine, stop and think about it. I mean, I'm 75 years old, and I was a Jehovah's Witness for 50 years of my life. Really, I grew up in it. But birthdays were always taboo. How do you take that just for a witness to even hear the word birthday? All they think of is John the Baptist being beheaded or some terrible thing happening at a birthday party, and that's all witness of program. So how can you now, after many years of saying birthdays are bad, how can you come out and say, okay, birthdays are good now? Well, what we'll do, we won't call it a birthday, we'll call it a birth anniversary. See,
right.
What the heck is the difference?
I know. And then just think about it. The witnesses are really big on throwing baby showers for the baby, and that's for the birth of the baby. So they're just really being hypocritical and they have cake at those showers, and they're celebrating the arrival of the baby for the birth of the baby.
Yeah, it's like a pre-birth, like a pre-birthday, right? Like that's how it would be.
It's a pre-birthday.
Yeah.
Exactly. So why is that okay? You know what? They just don't make any sense. And really, in the beginning, when the religion was founded with Russell, they celebrated birthdays. It was Rutherford who changed it and didn't want Christmas and didn't want birthdays. And that's when the name Jehovah came out. Because I think before, when Russell founded the religion, they worshiped Jesus. And I think they even had crosses on the Watchtower.
Oh, they
So
did.
they believed in the cross. They believed in Jesus. They had birthdays. They had Christmas. And I don't think most of the Jehovah's Witnesses today even know that. They don't know the history of the religion, of their own religion. Now, I didn't know either, but I do now.
Well, see, there's another thing that's different. They don't want to call it a cross, but years ago the Watchtower did. It was a cross, but no, not a cross. It was a stake. Everything that they got to be different, and this is what the cults will do. They take and they twist things like that. Well, Nadine, it's always good to hear from you. You're a smart lady. Now, don't you ever stop researching. You're doing great. Thank you.
Okay. Bye, Rick.
Bye, Nadine. Well, there you go. Who would like to speak up
May
now?
I comment, Rick?
Oh, yeah, go ahead. You're on with us. Yep.
Hello?
Let's go with Anne-Marie first, and then fella can speak up. Yep.
Oh, thank you so much, Rick. First of all, I appreciate that Nadine brought out that witnesses did used to celebrate birthdays. A very old 91 or 92-year-old witness told me in 1975 that way back when they all celebrated birthdays. They keep track of each other's birthdays in the back of their Bible where there were several blank pages. But then all of a sudden, she said, I guess the Watchtower felt that we weren't giving enough time to Jehovah, and they called a stop to it. And I think it was more about the money. Anyway, the reason why they call them kingdom halls is because Witnesses used to meet in Mason halls, and then when the witness movement picked up, they thought, well, we can't call them Mason halls. They'll know that we're based on, the Masons, so we have to call them something else. So that's why you have Kingdom halls. And I just wanted to, for the sake of the archives, point out that there is nothing against God or sinful about celebrating a birthday. If you look in the very first few verses of the book of Job, even in the New World Translation, it brings out that Job was very much approved by God, and all of his children used to not only celebrate each other's birthdays at the birthday siblings' home, but that they would party for days. And there is no mention of anything wrong with it. And if any witness says, well, it doesn't say birthday, it says their day. But if you look in the beginning of chapter 3, where Job is lamenting his day, it makes it very clear. If you keep reading, he's lamenting the day of his birth because he was suffering. Thank you, Rick.
Ah, good comment, Emery. That's good. I'm glad and the witnesses listening, they can hear this. They have to hear this stuff because that's what's going to hopefully get them thinking. New York City, I think it was Shirley. Did you want to come on, Shirley? Come on back with us.
Yeah, that was me. I was just thinking about the birthday thing. Like, can you think like all the witnesses that grew up and are grown at my age have children of their own, and we were always told don't celebrate birthdays, and now you're talking about the kind of finagling, whatever you want to call it, the rule to celebrate birthdays. Like, we're grown. I'm in my 60s. We never had a birthday party, but now we can celebrate or whatever you say they're thinking about it or whatever. I mean, what kind of religion is this? What kind of religion is this? Now we grew up in the quote unquote truth, and now they're thinking about celebrating birthdays. So I guess back in the day, I'm sure you saw that picture. I don't know if it was a JW publication or not, but you remember, Rick, did you see that picture like in Bethel from the 30s or 40s when they used to celebrate Christmas, the Christmas tree at Bethel? Are they going to start celebrating Christmas again? Is that next?
Well, it could be next. It really could be next. And you brought something up here, Shirley. You got me thinking here again, like Nadine got me thinking. How is it? I mean, you went through and I went through. Never, you with the day you were born, you were lucky to even get your parents say, well, you were born today, Shirley. Never would they say happy birthday. Never would they get a cake and put a candle on it. No.
Exactly. Exactly. But I know that the Muslims, I think the Muslims do not celebrate birthdays either, but at least I recognize the Muslims as a religion. The JWs are a cult. Muslims are real. JWs, I mean, they're the same age as the light bulb. So Muslims have been around for centuries. So I have no problem if Muslims don't celebrate birthdays, but JWs, we're told this and that. We can't do this, but yet, like I said, there is a picture of the Christmas tree at Bethel from the 30s or 40s, so is that next?
Well, I think it could be, but like Nadine was saying, you can celebrate it. We won't call it Christmas. We'll put some other name on it, but you can.
What can you call it? I mean, Christmas is,
there's many witnesses that don't celebrate it, but like the day after Christmas, they call it.
With the turkey, like Thanksgiving. When the turkey was on sale, so I'm going to buy the turkey and I have it not on Thursday for Thanksgiving, but Friday or on the
and then it's okay. And I know many witness families that they call it Family Day. Family Day. Right. They didn't celebrate Christmas, but they had it. So maybe they might say, well, on that day, but where everyone's off anyways, you can have Family Day, So
yeah. I mean, why bother? I mean, all of a sudden, like, I'm in my 60s. I grew up. My generation, my peers, and I'm sure before me, we were told, oh, no, not birthday. No. Yeah. No birthdays,
Well, it's going to get people thinking. Go ahead. You run with us. What do you have to say? Go ahead.
Hello, Rick.
Yes.
Okay. There's a question that I always want to ask. The guy who started the organization, Charles Taze Russell, was he ever baptized? Well, obviously, he was never Jehovah's Witness because witnesses didn't come about until in the 30s. But was he ever baptized as a Bible student? Because I've been searching for his date of baptism, and I don't think he was ever baptized. Yet, they say that he's in heaven now. So how could he even become a part of the so-called anointed ones if he was never baptized in the organization?
Yeah, no, that's an interesting thought you have there, brother, because I never thought about that. But you did some research. You never saw he was baptized even as a Bible student, huh?
No, I've never. No, you see, Fred France. Yeah, Fred was baptized in 1913, and you can find where Nor and the others their baptism date. But I've never seen a baptism date for Russell because remember that he was with Miller, the Millerites or whoever he was with, and he just got up one morning and broke away from them and started his own thing. It really wasn't a religion; it was a business, a LLC that he started. So I don't think he was ever baptized in as a Bible student, much more as a Jehovah's Witness.
Well, you're right with that. The witnesses came about after he died, but he basically, well, the Watchtower was trying to, get away from him. That Charles Taze Russell is really causing a lot of problems for the Watchtower. Of course, he had the memorial, they had the tent, the pyramid where he's buried. They got rid of that. They don't like a lot of the teachings of Russell. It kind of shows how phony they are. But geez, thank you for calling in, brother. So where are you calling in from?
Yeah, but if I'm calling from down south,
Oh yes.
Florida.
Well, good to have you. Yeah.
Yeah. If anyone out there, know that the answer to that, if he was ever baptized, because he's the one that really started the organization, even though, they'll say it's Jesus Christ. I mean, which makes no sense.
Well,
But
you're right. Well, you do your research, brother. Well, thank you for calling in. We really appreciate it. Thank you very much, brother. Thank you.
okay, Rick, keep up the good job, brother.
Well, thank you. So, anyways, I did a little research like that brother there does, and I'll tell you what. There was a letter that there was a. Yeah, hold on one second. I'm just going to say. Well, go ahead before I get into it. Go ahead. What would you like to say?
This is Zachary. I came in late. I came in during Nadine's comment. What are you saying about birthdays?
I got information. I got information that came into me this week from a Bethelite, and he was saying that the Watchtower is starting to make a lot of the hard, fast rules. They're starting to make it a conscience matter. And he said, they did it with the beards. They did it with the reporting time. There's no biblical evidence for this, any scripture that can support it. So now he says in the fall, now don't take it to the bank and cash it, but he's telling me that in the fall, they're going to allow for birthdays, but they're not going to call it birthday. They're going to call it birth anniversary.
So wait, that's okay. So I heard Anne Marie's comment too, and I heard some of what she's saying about Job's children, and they did have like a special day each, and they used to go to each other's houses or something like that on that special day. And one time they were in one of the houses, and that wind came and it killed them all. But if they're going to accept, this week I was thinking about something Shakespeare said: "A rose by any other name is still a rose." So if celebrating birthdays were wrong, they were celebrating the day of their birth. How do they handle the way they've been using the scriptures? The one with Joseph, the man who Joseph had a dream, or the man had a dream, and the man got beheaded because of the birthday of the king. That's one of the things they use to discourage celebrating birthdays. And the other thing is, I believe it was one of the king. I can't remember their names, but when John the Baptist got beheaded, it was related to someone's birthday. And they've always used those two Bible accounts to say that celebrating birthdays is wrong. But by another name, they were celebrating the anniversary of their birth. So how can they get away with this? If they do actually do it. I had an interesting experience recently. Now, in my family, we have several people with double birthdays. My birthday comes on the same day, or came on the same day, of two of my aunts. So three of us shared the same birthday. And, you know, a witness, we never much talked about it, but we just knew. And when one of my aunts died and I saw her birthday, I kind of internally went, oh my, look at that. And so I still had the other aunt. And then she died. And that's when I thought, you know something, we should have been celebrating our birthdays all the time. The three of us should have been getting together. We should have been wearing silly looking hats and going to restaurants and just celebrating our birthday. And recently, just earlier this month, I was talking to one of my, I'm going to use the word worldly cousins. Her mother had the same birthday as I, my worldly cousin. And we had a meeting, a family meeting, where we had to discuss stuff. And we had to discuss stuff, family stuff. But I started bringing up stuff about our family history and shocking things, nice things to hear. And when I got to talk to one of my cousins by herself, I said to her, do you know your mother and Aunt so-and-so and I, we had the same birthday? And she said, no, I didn't know that. And I said, oh, you didn't know? And so she started talking real carefully. And then I said, I guess you would know. She said, yeah, I wouldn't know because you don't celebrate birthdays. So I didn't know when your birthday was. So if they turn it around, I'm going to be really disappointed.
Well, that's right. Shirley was just talking about the same thing, and in myself as well. You know, I never could have like a regular birthday party. I mean, I think that's an important thing for a little kid to have, even a grown up. See, that's a special day that, you know, that's the day you came into the world, to acknowledge that and say, gee, thank you. But, geez, now if they do allow, they're not going to call it birthday. It'll be a birth anniversary. I mean.
Could I ask a quick question there? Do you believe in like astronomical and astrology kind of stuff?
Well, they do say that.
There's numerology and things like that.
Well, just I can answer one of those. When you mention astrology, what happens on a birthday is in astrology is called a solar return. It's where the sun has returned to the exact place where it was when you were born. It happens either the day before your birthday, the day after, or that day. There's a moment, and that's why they say have a positive attitude on your birthday. Yes, astrology recognizes it.
In my family, I have a lot of death days and birthdays all around the same sort of time, you know, within days.
Yeah, well, that's a good question you had, Wyatt Earp. Okay, let's, Jack, thank you. Let's get some more people who want to come on here. Thank you, Zach. Thank you, Wyatt Earp. Let's go with, is it?
I just had a quick.
Hold on, Stefan, hold on. We do have some other people who want to speak up. Let's go with 650. I got a bunch of people on the screen right now. 650, go ahead. You're on with us.
Hi, this is Dodie. I haven't called in a while. Really a great discussion.
Well, what do you think?
Well, I you know, the guy that just called about he and his two aunts having the same birthday, I know he was going on and on, but, you know, I'm really so auditory, and he brings up so many good points about it's not just birthdays, but it's the holidays and all the things that we celebrate in life that brings the families close together, whatever religion you are. And I think that's a big piece that witnesses miss from their extended families. It's just profound to me. It's so sad to watch, because there was an earlier caller who said she was in her 60s and she didn't have any birthdays. And that's me. I was 61. I'm 61, but I was raised in the truth, not the truth, but you know what I mean? And that's what we missed. All this connection, those beautiful memories that you can create over the years that just bond families together. And the witnesses I feel like, you know, they destroyed that with my parents, you know, buying into that. That's what I have to say.
And can I say one more thing?
Oh, yeah, go ahead, Zach.
One more thing. I'm just thinking about this play on words, anniversary of one's birth. Do you know how they say the word birthday in French is so-and-so's birthday? They say it's their anniversary. Son anniversaire. They say anniversary. They don't say birthday. From what I remember studying and learning in school.
Oh, you're right with that. That's right. That's what they call a birthday in France is anniversary. So by changing the word from birthday to birth anniversary, what changes? What changes? That's what I'd like to know.
Can I say something real quick?
No, you can't.
I think that
Wyatt Earp, listen, I got a whole lot of people.
Just
Wyatt
wait.
Earp,
Just
sit
wait.
back.
Hold on. Just
Wyatt
hold
Earp.
on.
I'm
Let me have one thing to say.
Say it and get it done with.
All right. You're gonna make me forget if you keep messing with
Well,
me.
you're messing with me, so say it.
The problem is I think the problem is the party. You know, people get wild and crazy, and on birthdays, I don't think it's right to exalt the little child and make them think they're some of the worst behaviors I've ever seen out of children are on birthdays, and they think that the whole day is about them, and they can do anything they want, and they get presents, and they can just act like a complete little.
Okay, well, we got it. We know what you're saying. So give some other people a chance. Okay, we got a lot of people.
All right, I'll give it for a while.
Let's go with. We had a
All right.
Foster babe on there. Let's go to Michigan. Let's go to Mike. Go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, just real quick, Rick. The gentleman earlier that asked about Brother Russell getting baptized. Okay, as far as I understand it, Brother Russell, they were, and his father, they've been baptized previously in a denominational Christendom. So when they came to the conclusion, that their doctrines were false, they thought that was invalid. So as far as I understand it, they did he got baptized in 1874. The study, well, they were, I guess the meetings they had there right in their home. That's my understanding as far as a biography that I've read.
All right, well, no, that's good. No, in fact, I believe that brother's still listening. That's good information. Thank you, Mike, for sharing that with us. I know you know a lot, and that's good. We always hear you.
Mr. Fair?
Yes, go ahead. You with us. Go ahead, Chicago. I believe that's Stefan. Yep.
Yeah, I just had a quick thought on this. When I woke up from this, one of the things that crossed my mind was these holiday celebrations, right? Because you start to see things differently. But I still never really had any desire to go celebrate my birthday. I was like, well, I haven't celebrated in all these years. Why would I all of a sudden start and be the poster child for everybody that starts celebrating holidays and all that? And then COVID hit. And it just seemed like everybody that I knew, or a friend of a friend, or a workmate that was touched by COVID. It was almost every day we were hearing about somebody that died from COVID. And it was at that point when I really just said to myself, life is such a precious gift. I mean, a year ago, look at where we are today, and look at how many people are dropping dead because of COVID. And when I thought about that, I said, life really should be celebrated. And anybody who doesn't think it should be celebrated, you just wonder, what could you be thinking when you see a global pandemic? Millions upon millions of people are dead. Celebrate your life. Celebrate the gift of life that you have. And that's when I started, celebrating life. Thanks.
Well, there you go. Well, thank you. Always good to hear from you, Stefan. We really appreciate it. 978, I believe that's Dick Boogie. Go ahead, Dick.
Hi, Rick. It's Constance. I was going to say, yeah, I was like many of the other ones when I was in the organization. I never celebrated, and you really feel like a fish out of water, especially if no one in your family are JWs, which was my case. But, it's a wonderful way to develop social skills. It has nothing to do with idolizing yourself. It's just a way of family get-togethers, people get together, socialize, and making memories. And I loved what Stefan said, because life is very short. And when you look back, the witnesses don't have anything to look back, because they don't celebrate anything. They don't celebrate Christmas. They don't celebrate birthdays. They don't celebrate anything, Rick, And what's really important is the love that you have with the people that are your family, whether it's close friends or family or whatever. And there's nothing wrong with birthdays. I think for many of us who never celebrated it for many, many years, this is a real slap in the face to all of us. And like you say, Rick, like you say, Watchtower is now trying to cater to the new generation. But for all of us, Rick, none of us, we never were allowed to be able to celebrate it. So thank you.
Well, thank you. In fact, that's Constance, and her and Dick tonight have a program coming on right after this JW World News. Now, it's all about sex in the Watchtower. I mean, you have to talk about it. We remember the bedroom laws. So Constance and Dick Boogie tonight on their program right after the news. We'll be talking about that. So by all means, stay tuned to that program. Then the other thing I wanted to mention, well, before we do that, let's go to 650, and then we'll go to Apostle Babe. 650, you're on with us. Go ahead. You're unmuted, 650, so go ahead.
Oh, I'm just still on, and I'm listening to the different comments. It's Dodie again.
Oh, Dodie, okay.
And you made me think about, it took me a while to wake up. I've been out of the organization since like the mid 80s, but I was physically out, but kind of mentally in. But when I was a teenager, there was all these people like leading double lives as witnesses. And back then, during the early 80s, I was like, why are they acting like that? Why are they leading this double life? And now, as a 61-year-old, out of it for a while, I'm like, oh my gosh, why couldn't I be one of those early adopters of thinking for myself and not really just, going along with this, because I was afraid that, I'd get ostracized. I'd lose my family. Everything. So I just, again, they're going to have to really change up everything if they want to keep this religion growing. And I made a joke on the chat, but really, if they mainstream everything, that's like the one way to grow this religion. The more they're different, like you were pointing out, the more they're different, the more people are going to shy away. That's just not the generation. That's not the culture now. So anyway.
Well, thank you, Dodie. I like what you just said there. That's not the culture now. This whole thing has changed. Everything has changed. It's a different world. Thank you for your comments. We appreciate that.
You bet. Great job. We love you. Bye.
Well, thank you. All right. So, my goodness, in fact, I have to say that Apostle Babe, right? We got Linda James, Apostle Babe, your favorite apostate. She's on with us. Go ahead, Linda.
Thank you. So I wanted to just dovetail off of what she just said and her comment before. The organization gives us, these principles and standards and policies and whatever else, but you get taught something different than how it really is. So they'll tell us it's about John the Baptist getting his head chopped off, but in actuality, I personally see the reason we don't get to celebrate holidays is to make sure that the members self-isolate without getting communication with their family of origin that might not be Jehovah's Witnesses. So it's another way to keep them isolated. And yes, you would get to celebrate yourself. And sure, there's kids that get, spoiled on their day of, a birthday, and they can be a little brat, but they can also be disciplined on that day too. And know that cake was, set up for them. Fortunately, I got to give my kids birthday parties. And I remember every year going, oh, that's right. There's going to be, people would bring gifts, and I would always forget there's going to be gifts. But I think it's such an honorable thing to honor our children or our friends, but that would be hard to do if we're all, just filthy rags, right? So you can't have any sense of self-esteem or any sense of identity. And when you don't get to celebrate your birthday, that really plays into that. Well, and the thing about the conscience matter.
Yeah, go ahead.
When you're talking about things are all turning towards conscience matter, I'm questioning that. Is it really a conscience matter? Because what if you use your own conscience and the consequences is you have voluntarily disassociated yourself or you get disfellowship? I mean, then you are in a mindset of you will die at Armageddon. So is it really a conscience matter? I'm doubting that. yeah, that's all I want to say.
Well, no, in fact, the boss lady, there's one word there that you said that I'm centering on here. You said the word isolation. No, you said the word isolation.
Yes.
Now that
Is that the word?
yeah, that's the word. No, you didn't hit the duck, didn't come down. That's not this. You almost you thought you won $20, right? But no, but no, the word isolation. You nailed it. That's what they do to isolate people. Don't go to that birthday party. They know that they know people are going to try to talk sense into you. Don't go to that birthday party. Keep you away from the world, so to speak. That's why they do it. Good comment, though. Thank you, Linda. Yep. Yes.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. Well, we're gonna move on here. In fact, I just want to say this for
Isolation should be the secret word.
Yeah, it's not the secret word though. I was hoping you might say it. I would give you the money, but we do have two secret words.
I won it one time, but I don't like presents.
Yeah, I know. No, you don't. You're a man that doesn't like anything like that. I can tell.
I know. I just don't like presents. Christmas.
Well,
presents.
you don't want to look at you don't want to look a gift toss in the mouth, right? So maybe you'll say it. All right. Thank you, Wider. Thank you. All right. Let's go to. Well, before I even go to anybody else, I just want to tell you there was a letter, and some of you folks that were an elder may have known this a while back. I forget how many years it was, but there was actually a letter that was sent to the elders, and I know this for a fact. Well, I don't want to say for a fact, but I know elders that at least one elder told me about this, that you would not, they said you could celebrate a birthday and you wouldn't be disfellowshipped for it. Did you know that? Now, this is true because there were some elders. There was an elder that I knew that he would celebrate his daughter's birthday. They had one child and he would do it secretively. And they more or less were saying that you could do it secretively. But, if any others in the congregations found you doing it and you were disobeying you made like a comment to the effect that you were disobeying the elders if they came and told you to keep it a secret, then they would say you were causing a division. But you could secretly, and this has been a known thing in the organization, you could secretly give your child a birthday as long as nobody else in the congregation knew about it. So you had to clam up, you couldn't say anything. So birthday celebrations, I'm going to tell you that they're going to come about according to this Bethelite that gave me the information this week. They're going to come about in the fall. Witnesses will be able to celebrate a birth anniversary. So we'll see what happens. They have to keep doing these things. Now, can you imagine? Now, the beard thing, that really exploded. Every brother started growing a beard. That was big news for the witnesses. But can you imagine once they celebrate birth anniversaries? Do you imagine the parties there'll be in the witness world? They've been pent up. They've never been able to do too much of anything. All of a sudden, the watchtower says, "Hey, you can have a party. I guess you could. It's a birth anniversary." So just stop and think about it. How many parties there will be? Really, all the witnesses, they're going to take this one and run with it for sure. So I'm really seeing the watchtowers making monumental changes, but I really have to say, how do they get away from, one time they would say that, if you really celebrate a person's birthday, you're showing that person honor. It's actually like you're showing it's idolatry. You're giving the person too much attention. Really, when you think about it, that's one of the reasons why they never did it. Of course, they did it because of birthdays, people dying beheaded. So they have to bring that up and say, well, wow, you can't do it because it's bad. But I just thought it was interesting that this information came to me this week. And I can honestly see that they're going to do this. I really would say they're going to start celebrating your birth anniversary. So I think what they're doing now is yes.
Rick, and the birthday party, you think they'll call it the anniversary party of your birth get together?
Oh, they probably would do that. But Zach, when you stop when you stop and think about it, it's like the watchtower right now is pushing to see how far they can go with all of this weird stuff, like grow a beard now, no reporting of time, perhaps birth anniversaries. It looks like they're pushing to see how far they can really go before something hits the fan here. We're going to have to see. They keep pushing the pencil here further and further. I mean, they're looking to get more people in. That's what they're trying to do.
How far they can go and still call themselves Jehovah's Witnesses.
Right. I mean, that name's going to have to probably disappear too. Yeah. Go ahead, Stephen.
That's a great point that you make, Zach, because it's like the Jehovah's Witness anymore. What is a Jehovah's Witness anymore? Everything that made you a Jehovah's Witness is now being upended. And this birthday is just another thing. And the fact that we're sitting here discussing it will show you how much we were starved when we were in that darn thing for just some sort of normalcy. I mean, I don't know about you, Zach. I was born and raised. I didn't feel like I had anything to ever really look forward to. Everybody else looked forward to all the holidays and, summer break, go someplace for vacation or whatever. What do we have to look forward to?
I was born
in this organization. Nothing. But, go to an assembly. That's about all you have to look forward to. So they are really in an unenviable position because they have to change, and the more changes to because they're kind of tired of losing people, but the more changes that they make are going to result in losing more people because people are going to see, I can't believe that I sat here and dealt with this for all these years, and now everything that I withheld from myself, now all of a sudden I can do. And that's just going to make people even more leave. The thing I feel saddest about all the single sisters who never got married, because Watchtower told you the scripture in the Bible that says marry only in the Lord means only marry another Jehovah's Witness. And I know people who are my age who have never been married. And now it's too late. Even if they did, the son can't have kids or grandkids. And they've held out for all of this because of this Watchtower teaching. Now what Watchtower changes that? Now you can go out and marry anybody you want. And I did marry all these years, and I had 5 or 6 people who asked me that I could have had great lives with. I mean, this organization has taken so much, and the fact that now they want to flip-flop and give people something they think we're supposed to be happy about it, Watchtower is going to fly a kite.
Well, I like the way you say that, Stephen. But, they're desperate. Right now, the Watchtower organization is desperate. Now, what happens when an organization or people are desperate? Well, desperation, they have to now take desperate measures. They have to take desperate action. And that's exactly what the Watchtower is doing now by changing all of this stuff. And they're probably figuring that they have a lot more to gain than they have to lose. Yeah, they're going to lose some people. There's going to be a lot of people going to say, that's it. I've had enough. I'm getting out of this thing. But then they're going to also be able to gather probably some new ones coming in. So I believe that the beard change was a trial run for other things that they have in mind that will be introduced not in a long, long time from now, be introduced pretty quickly. So any other thoughts on this, on the birth anniversary?
Yeah, Rick, I wanted to say about the birthdays. I remember, like, in my area of Queens, I remember, and this is back in the 70s, I remember a certain sister, we were teens, I think we were in our early 20s, but a certain family went to another congregation, not ours, but in our area, said, oh, she said, so-and-so's having a birthday party. Do you want to go? And it was like a yearly event, and the thing is, other witnesses were there. Now, back in the 70s, you would have thought that would be a taboo, and everybody would have been disfellowshipped to everything, but this birthday party, I don't remember the name of the family now, but back then I knew the name of the family, and she told me because she used to go to the birthday party for the kids, and they were J-Dub. Now, I don't know if the father was an elder or whatever, but I mean, it wasn't like a secret. It wasn't a secret. So things like this, I mean, I'm sure, just think about it. Of course, something was going on, because I remember even another peer of mine, when we were teenagers, we were talking after the meeting, and another friend, we were talking, she said, oh, that's a nice skirt or a nice dress or something. She said, oh, my father gave it, and her father, who was a witness, she said, oh, my father gave it to me for my birthday. Now, even if he did, I think it would be kind of hush-hush not to share that he gave it to you for your birthday. But she was like, oh, my father gave it to me for my birthday. It was like no hesitation. So, like, things were still, going on back then, but not, she said it right in the Kingdom Hall and with the birthday party, but now, I'm sure things went on back then. Obviously, things went on back then like they're celebrating birthdays, but now, what it's going to be legit, I guess.
Well, the thing is, what's happening is people are poking it apart. If you say you're a Christian religion and then you can't support this biblically, I mean, The Watchtower has always done that. They've said so many things that can't be supported biblically. So the world is catching up with them. Thank you, Shirley. Always good to hear from you. I wanted to bring up one more story here before we have to close down our news. But I just want to talk about homelessness. And I took a drive down to Lowell, Massachusetts. I live in Tewksbury, the next town over. Lowell is a city of about 120,000 people, but we have a big river. It's called the Merrimack River, and it flows from the White Mountains of New Hampshire into the Atlantic Ocean. But I drove along there today, and I saw a number of homeless people sleeping out in tents. I haven't seen this before, and I'm talking about there had to be 100 plus, maybe 200 even, tents all over the riverbank. And it went on for about an eighth of a mile to a quarter of a mile. And I couldn't believe it. But I can understand why so many people are going homeless. It's so expensive today. Everybody is seeing it. The house right in this neighborhood where I live, I've been trying to find an apartment for some homeless people, trying to help them out a little bit. The cheapest apartment I could find, and it's just like it wasn't even a great apartment. It was kind of dumpy. They wanted $1,800. And I'm saying, how, in goodness name's sake? No wonder why so many people are sleeping in tents along the river. But the reason why I even bring this up and how I tie it in with Jehovah's Witnesses, we're also hearing there's a number of Jehovah's Witnesses, a lot of them that are now, they're homeless. They're staying with other witnesses. They're doing everything they can to just keep a roof over their head. But I came across something this week that really, really aggravated me to the highest order. So in one congregation, I'm not going to mention where it was or anything, but in one congregation, there was a sister, and she fell through the cracks. So a young sister, she fell through the cracks, didn't make a lot of money, couldn't afford rent. So she was living in her van. And a lot of people are doing that today. People live in cars, live in vans, and some people even like living in a van, so to speak. A little bed back there. They get a little toilet sink, so to speak. So it's like living in an RV. Well, in this particular congregation, the elders got on her case. They didn't approve of this sister living in the van. They said it didn't really look good. It didn't look good on the organization. So they were saying that she really shouldn't be doing this. Now, what business does the organization have to go to a poor young girl that's all she can afford is to live in a van? Wouldn't you think they'd say, well, come on, let me help you. We'll try to find your apartment. We'll try to do something. I mean, if she was going to a regular church, that's what they do. They would try to help the poor young girl. But here's the Jehovah's Witnesses. Do they reach out to help this poor sister? No. They criticize her for sleeping in the van. This organization, it does not in any way really show the love that they say. They say they're the only loving organization on the planet. But do they really show love to criticize this woman for living in the van? Geez, that's the only place she can live. I mean, isn't that prejudice? That to me is prejudice. You shouldn't be condemning me where I live. You shouldn't. There's no reason for the elders to do that. And this really got me upset. And I'll tell you, really, there's a lot of people right now that are falling through the cracks. There's elderly ones. There's even young ones. Everything is too expensive for them. And, the elders have no right chastising you for where you live. You might not be able to live in the best neighborhood even if you have to live in a shack, so to speak. At least you're trying to do the best you can. There's no reason in the world why a person should be criticized for where they live. You're on with us, Dan. Go ahead.
Yeah, Rick, I agree with you. I tell you, I think I speak for everybody out here, but I think we're getting tired of those babbling asses running their mouth. They're like old men that never allowed the damn kids to grow up. They're going to tell you, they're going to tell them they're not going to stop. They're insane. They have to lead somebody. They have to be parents. They have to be discipliners. And the people in there, I'm sorry, they never grew up. I talked to some Jehovah's Witnesses the other day. I was downtown Caldwell, and there they were with their carts, smiling. And I walked up, and I was nice to them. I wasn't crashing their carts or nothing. I just asked them a simple question. what do you guys, what do you think, what's going on with the beards? I said, you know, you guys obviously stand out now. Something changed. And all of a sudden, smiles came across her face. You know, and I said to them, I said, so what do you think about that? And they said, oh, the men, it was a Spanish congregation. They said, oh, the men love them. And I said, no, let me re-ask the question. Why do you think Jehovah took so long to tell them? Oh, the apostles, you know, the apostles had beards. Yeah, but why didn't Jehovah tell them? Why all this time? That's obvious years ago. Oh, they did not want to look like the hippies in the 60s. Oh, okay. All right. Well, what about the prophecies? And you know what they said, Rick? I went down a list. What about the false prophecies, 75? Oh, they're good men doing what? No. Let's just back up. Are they good men, or are they appointed by Jehovah to give you spiritual food at the proper time? And do you preach to them, or do they preach to you? Now, I was very nice, but Rick, they said over 20 times they don't give a shit. And I said pedophilia. I said everything. Look at Pennsylvania. Have you saw what's happened in Pennsylvania? Have you saw what's happened in the Australian Commission? Have you seen what's... They just grin from ear to ear. Nobody's home. And there's no damn excuse for it anymore. There's no excuse. It's like stupidity. You can't say I was stupid. You can't say I was brainwashed. The information is out there. But Rick, they don't care. And I got so many comments. I did a video yesterday. It got 10,000 views. And it was basically saying the same thing. I don't care. They don't care. And literally, Rick, I hit them with everything. And I just can't believe it. And now they're gonna put the birthdays in there with the what was it, the anniversary birthday or whatever. And I'm going, they're just gonna buy that shit. Just like 75. We didn't say 75 is gonna end. We just said the generation was gonna end. We didn't say the overlapping It's like, man, you talk about being bullshitted your whole life and continuing to feed on bullshit. Come on, people, PMOs, JWs, wake up. You're being fed a bunch of shit. You know, I'm sorry, Rick. It's just, I know I get upset, but you know, these freaks in Brooklyn, New York, this governing body killed my parents. They stole their mind. They locked them in with fear. I watched my parents die like that. That wasn't cool. They don't give a shit. They'll change every rule on the books. They don't care. It's really sad, Rick. It's really sad. I just sit back and I know I get a little passionate about it, but you know, when deaths are involved and people losing houses and putting their life on hold for governing body, waiting, and governing body could care less. They go back to their meeting and they conjure up some other things to try to keep afloat. These aren't real men. Real men admit their mistakes. Real men come clean. Real men don't need to lead other men. Real men expect their people to grow up, not be bottle fed the rest of their life. And that's what's happening with Watchtower. Those people that I met down there were bottle feeders. They were feeding on the bottle. Get off the bottle, people. You're being lied to. You've been lied to. It was really discouraging. Rick Angela was standing there. Nice people, really nice people. Yeah, you know, salt of the earth, but totally nobody home, and they don't care, Rick. They don't care at all. That's what blew me away. So anyway, Rick, I just wanted to share that tonight. It's just, you know, I know I come on here passionate, but God Almighty, I can't believe that governing body 2024 is still getting away with this stuff. Can you, Rick?
Well, I'll tell you what. I mean, they're good at it. They're good at it. But you know, I'll tell you, Dan, we appreciate your passion. You have passion and you have commitment. Now, tonight we have had on our programs thus far numerous people break out crying. I mean, when do you really? Well, what radio, television programs do you really watch where there's genuine emotional crying that takes place? That's what this organization has done to people. It brings them to being distraught, to actually crying, and that happened numerous times here tonight on the 6 screens. What a sad state of affairs.
Could I tell you a real?
Listen. I'm just going to tell Wyatt or if don't butt in. I'll come to you. So just don't butt in. I see you there. Listen, I'm telling you, you're aggravating me again. You aggravated me again. Okay, you want me to block you off? Knock it off. Let the man. Dan was listen.
Give me 1 minute. Give me 1 minute.
Go ahead.
Give me one.
And then get off.
Don't give him the. About a year ago, I called in and I said that I'm living in a van down by the river, and that girl Pixie made fun of me like I was trying to for some reason. But I have managed to get myself off I was living in an RV down by the river, and I have managed to get myself out of there and in an apartment, and I'm feeling pretty good about myself these days.
Well, I'm glad for you, and I'm glad that happened. But I want to try to teach you some manners. Okay, I'm just trying to teach you. You're moving. I want to try to let you know that you have to take your turn. You just can't butt in. All right. So I'm glad things.
Why not? Isn't this a conversation?
No, because
you have a.
He's not going to get
a show like this. It's a conversation.
Why, Irk? No one gives a crap what you have to say. Seriously, when you're belligerent like this, just stop.
The man is a nuisance. The man is a nuisance. Dan, did you want to say something to finish it up?
Yeah, I was just going to say, Rick, but what kind of gets me, is, I've told you about when my mom died, with fear, the witnesses injected the fear into her, and she never recovered. And my dad never recovered either. And my brother didn't recover either. So for me, that's where the passion comes in, is because these are like real lives. This is not a joke. It's not a joke that they're continuing. And you said over and over, Rick, what kind of man don't come back and help once he's got free? I got free 20 years ago, and I got my life back together, put myself back together. And then I was going to walk away, and I saw my brother, two brothers, one still in, one dead now. And all he was doing was saying the same thing my mother said. Jehovah's going to kill me. Jehovah's going to kill me. Jehovah, and he died. And my older brother is very slow. He talks very slow. He's injured. His mind is injured. This is not no fucking joke to me. And I don't mean to be so harsh. I just mean it ain't a joke. It's like, I mean, I don't know. I've been out 20 some years, but to see your family die, Rick, I didn't get to see my family. I didn't get to know my family. I didn't get to know my uncles. And they think that's cute. They think that that's really cute that we're shunning. And so many people have died. I know people personally that have died because they've been shunned because their parents wouldn't pick up the phone and talk to them. That is not funny. So anyway, that's why I'm passionate, Rick. That's why I do this. I'm doing good in my life. I'm happy. I have more than I need. My cup runneth over. But this is part of my life now, Rick. I've tried to walk away so many times, but it's like walking away from people that are crying and hurting. And the other night I did a video, and overnight it hit 10,000. There were 300 comments, and I answered every one of them. Every single one of them got an answer. And they were kind, and they were wonderful, and they were new, and it was beautiful. It was a beautiful thing. And I love it. It's a ministry. And so I wanted to walk away and maybe do some other things, but I don't know how you walk away from people, Rick, when you've figured out. A man told me one day, I said, what am I going to do with my life? I'm out of the witnesses. I'm free. And here's what he said, Rick. Every one of us who've come out are escape artists. He says, you're going to help people get out of there. And that's what I'm trying to do. And that's what you're doing, Rick. And you've been doing it for how many years? Like 20 years. I don't know how many weekends you have went and never missed a show. Oh my God, that's better than me. I mean, I started a long time ago. I started 18 years ago as an activist, but I didn't continue on. I kind of built up my life and kind of got away. But then when I saw the mental illness leaking into my younger brother, it took him. And then I saw the mental illness creeping into my older brother. I said, my God, Dan, you got a voice. You got to use it. You got to use our voice. God gave us a voice and a heart. So when I'm coming on there and you're coming on there, Rick, and these people are coming on there, we're coming from our heart. We really do want to help these people out of there and help them to think, start thinking. That's what I was doing the other day when I was talking to people on the street. I was asking them, think about this. Just think about this. Think about what's happened. Think about what you're letting happen. And I went down everything. I hit everything with them. And it just surprised me that Watchtower had such a hold. And here's the thing, too. Watchtower's convinced them that they told us, they said, we don't follow men. We follow God itself. And they said, and Jehovah's always waiting for you. And I said, no, I told you that just because, again, I don't follow the men. I didn't say I left Jehovah. I just said I left the men. But they couldn't put the two together. But they did say, we don't follow men. We will never follow men. And I said, that's a good start. So anyway, we can make a difference anywhere, Rick. And so you're making a difference. Everyone's on cheers. Anybody who will use their voice is making a difference. Everyone who chimes in with the littlest comment is making a difference. There's people listening, and people are listening for that heart. They're listening for the tonality. They're listening for that real stuff so that they can know that they're hearing the truth in their soul. Their soul knows something's wrong. Their mind is the only thing that's brainwashed. So when we speak truth, then we're speaking to that soul that knows the truth. And they know it. It's soul to soul.
Well,
and that's what's going to help.
Amen to that. Amen to that. Well, thank you, Dan. Amen to that. Hey, listen, we got just a few more minutes here to go. Hold on 1 second. We want to give some people here. We haven't had a chance yet. Let's go with let's go to 919. Now we're going to give some people. They've been trying to call in. We got a lot of people calling in tonight. The board is lighting up big time. 919. Go ahead. What would you like to say?
Yes, all I want to say, Rick, is you're doing a great job, and I was the one that I told you that I went to college anyway, ignored what Watchtower said. Anyway, we can all get together and educate and let others know, because that's been my sole mission. I basically was able to go to college and got married, and my husband, thank God he came, because they used to be getting mad at me because he was not a believer. And that's what I wanted, to not stay in the organization. I wanted to marry, get out. And I've been out almost 24 years now, and it feels so good.
Well, good.
So any way I can help others to come out, I will do that.
Well, good girl. Thank you for calling in. Thank you. Let's go to 614. 614. You're on with us. Go ahead. 614. Hit *6. That'll unmute you. 614. All right. Okay. 614. Yeah, you're on with us. Go ahead.
Yeah, Rick, it's Tim. Just quickly had to agree with everything Dan was saying. It is the people that are staying in it, they're nearly as guilty as the governing body themselves. But the Bible does say that people would come in Jesus' name. They liken themselves to Jesus' voice. People don't even ask, that whole thing that witnesses may have once said, what would Jesus do? It's like, what would the governing body do? That's literally it. Whatever the governing body says, they get the information. And like you said, with the beards, they do a bit of a test run. It's kind of just to do with compliance. I saw it with the jab, regardless of views on the jab. The amount of people that I got feedback from that said, if it was good enough for the governing body, it's good enough for us. That's who they look to. So, the people, they don't care what anything else says. If the governing body says something, that they'll do it, and the governing body knows they're at that point, and that's why they're saying anything. And as far as like that, tying it into the homeless thing, those people saying to the young woman, it's not a good look. That's all the religion's about these days, what it looks like. You can be doing anything you want, but if it looks like you're doing the right thing, you can hide any type of sin. That was my original gripe years ago with the elders when I left. I said, you will allow anyone to enter that organisation if they've got a suit on. It doesn't matter what they're doing, but if people don't see it, it's all fine. And that's the same with the birthday thing. Let's just use semantics, relabel it. That way they can justify it in their own stupid warped consciences that it's not celebrating a birthday, it's a totally different thing, when really you're just using another word. You know that, but if you're going to be in that religion in this day and age, that's the mentality you've got. You anything the GB says, you're going to do it, and anyone with half an ounce of thinking ability about them, that they'll be either left or on their way out now.
Good.
Thanks, Rick.
Well, thank you very much, Tim from Australia. Gilbert Gonzalez, I want to bring you in. I see you've been trying to come in all night here. Come on, Gilbert. Give you a shot here. Gilbert Gonzalez, come on in from Arizona. There you are.
Hey, Rick.
Yeah.
Okay. Hey, Rick. Well, I hope I make you look good. Yeah, Dan did a great job on that video. But you know what? You know, Rick, I believe, I'm a firm believer in KISS, right? Keep it simple, stupid. And that comes from the Navy. See, the generals have to teach the kids, you got to keep it simple. If something has been proven to work, you don't change it.
Or Joe.
So the point is real simple. What I'm trying to say is that you mentioned earlier, because when you were talking to Dan, and you said, well, Watchtower's really good at it. You see, the reason Watchtower is good at it, Rick, is because they keep it complicated. Do you understand? Because the more complicated you are as a Jehovah's Witness, or in politics, or in business, or in anything, they got you. Because everyone is trying to be, have you noticed, like in a religious talk, everyone is trying to be smart. Everyone is trying to show you how much intelligence and research they have done in their life. And it's this quest to be the smartest and have the insight, the greatest scoop, the greatest whatever. And so what it does is the simplicity of the teachings of Jesus Christ. You say, well, I'm not going to listen to that. That's too simple. I'll give you a case in point. At the very end, the last words of Jesus on John, the book of John, when Peter says, what about John? And he goes, what's it to you? You follow me. And Jehovah's Witnesses don't realize that they are idolaters. It's that simple. They're worried about all of these other laws and all of these other rules. But rule number one, Rick, stop worshiping other human beings. Stop following other human beings. You have to love Jesus more than the governing body. Jesus says you have to love him more. No, you can't love the governing body. You can't love Watchtower. You got to love Jesus more. And I'm going to tell you, Rick, the moment you admit that you are an idolater, you were an idolater, that's a liberating moment. You become free. And then it opens up. You say, Jesus, you say, God, I'm sorry. I was an idolater. I was breaking rule number one. How can you advance in life when you can't even stop breaking rule number one? So that's what I'm trying to say, is that the reason what the governing body is so good at this is because they complicate everything. Mm-hmm. And that's why the Bible talks about the simplicity of Christ. And that's why the Jehovah's Witnesses took that term out of their Bible, the simplicity. You can't find it in the Jehovah's Witness Bible because they want the religion to be complicated. The more complicated the religion can be, then the more they can have a hold on.
I agree with you. Well, good comment. Yeah. Thank you. We really
love you, Rick.
Well, love you too, buddy. Thank you very much. Okay, I think let's do this. We just got a few more minutes to go here, but I do believe that Constance and Dick, are you on the line with us? Did you want to say something? No, maybe they're just getting ready for the show, I think. Yeah. All right. This show is coming up. Dick and Constance are coming on here very shortly. So we got them coming on. We're going to let Dan and we're going to let Stefan have the last words here. Dan, go ahead. And we're going to have, let's go with Stefan. Stefan, go ahead. Give us the last words.
Stefan, I just have a question. A couple videos popped up on my phone stating Watchtower had 19, 9 and 14 wrong in terms of memorial. And I just wondered if this was something that was on your radar. I don't know if they were saying that Jesus didn't die on 9.
Well, no, they mess it up all the time. They do. It's almost every year. It's never exact. They do it all the time.
Okay.
Yeah, they stay right with the Jewish.
They can't even get that right, eh?
No, they don't. No, they don't. But good thought. We'll bring that up next week. We're going to be talking about the memorial. I'm going to show you what they do to mix it up.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. I guess let's see. We got Larry John Wayne. Go ahead, Larry.
Yeah, I was listening, and it's amazing that
in the Watchtower, they do these word games, and somebody's got their thing on. Let's get a echo.
Go ahead, try that now. That better?
Okay, so yeah, the Watchtower uses word games, and it used to be that you could be disfellowshipped for even doing something that appears like it's something. So if you went to a hotel room and you were in the hotel room, and even if you didn't have sex, the fact that you were there, it appears that you had sex. So now they're having the appearance of celebrating birthdays, even though they're changing the word.
You got it. Oh, no, that's right. Just change the word. You got it, Larry. Thank you. Michael, I'm going to give you, this has to be the last one. Mike, keep it to about a minute or so because we got to end the program. Go ahead, Michael King.
You got the wire to this.
Okay, Michael. Did you want to come on, Michael? Okay. All right. Let's. Hey,
Rick.
Yeah.
Rick, real quick. I'm going to be doing a video on my live channel, my live YouTube. It's Larry, initial J, Wayne, and I'm going to do probably next week, and I'm going to go over my father's recording. He was one of the anointed, and I asked him a simple question about the Christ being our mediator, and it took him 30 minutes to spit it out. And so I'm going to go over all the lies that he said in his roundabout way that he presented it. And that's typical of witnesses. They beat around the bush. They go around, they speak in circles and they don't really get to the point. So anyway, I'll be covering that. If anybody wants to start watching my YouTube live, it's YouTube, and you look it up. It's Larry, initial J, Wayne, and then you'll see my picture, and you can watch my live shows.
Oh, very good, Larry. That should be cool. Thank you for sharing that with us. Thank you very much. Okay, that's gonna be it. We're gonna, Michael, we're gonna give you 1 minute. That's all we got. Yep.
Okay, just along with what Gilbert said about keeping it simple, in the Jewish faith, you would be under the yoke of a rabbi. You'd be under that teaching. This rabbi would give you certain rules to do. Another rabbi would give you another certain rules to do. And you would consider that under the yoke of that rabbi. And what did Jesus say in Matthew? Take my yoke. It is light.
Well, there you go. Okay, that's good. That's good. Final word. Thank you. Thank you very much, Mike. I wish we had more time for you, buddy, but we got to go to the other show. They're kind of waiting.
I understand.
Okay. All right, Dick and Constance, hang on. We'll be with you in about 5 minutes. Your program will start. I just want to show you the secret word. Now, nobody said the secret word tonight, I don't think. No, and I'm going to mute some people here. We got a lot of people still trying to call in. So if you get muted, don't worry about it. I'm muting some people so we get a nice, clear broadcast here. I just want to say that we got the secret words, okay? I don't know if anyone said it. If someone said it, correct me, but I've been listening kind of intently here tonight. But let's open the envelope. Let's see what the secret words are. If you said one of them, you won $20. The duck would have came down. You would have heard the duck. You would have heard this, and this is what you'd hear. But you didn't hear that tonight. But here's the secret words. The secret word for tonight, one of them was circuit overseer. Circuit overseer. I did not hear the word circuit overseer. If I did, someone correct me. And the other secret word, regional convention. If you said one of those words, you'd get $20. If you said both of them, $50. I don't think anyone got it tonight. Well, anyways, we do have a 6-screen Sunday tomorrow. We take on a different field. We get into theology. We get into the scriptures. We get some great programs coming up tomorrow, beginning at 1 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. The Knowing God After Leaving the Watchtower program. That's with 2 Christian apologists. Starts at 1. 2 o'clock, we have our ex-Jehovah's Witnesses share their story of being in the Watchtower. Anne-Marie hosts that program. That's at 2. Then we go to JW World News Sunday edition tomorrow at Sunday. Then we go to the Christian Court. In the world of Christianity, there is many times peculiar questions that Christians would ask, and that's what we ponder out and do on the 6 screens. I'm just going to mute some people here. We're going to have to do that. Muted. And then we'll bring them back on here in a second. But anyways, we also have Jay Hass answering your Bible questions. He'll be coming on tomorrow at 5 o'clock. So look forward to Sunday. And friends, the last one leaving the Watchtower, please turn off the new light. We're now going to Dick and Connie's program. They're going to be talking about bedroom laws, sex in the Watchtower. Let's go there now. Okay, we're going to get to, give me a second here, folks. We're going to end this stream. I have to get the phone working again, so let's do that. Every 6 hours, the phone line goes out. So let's get the phone line. Is the phone on? Someone speak to me on the phone. Dick, Constance, is that you, Eric? Okay, we're gonna restart the phone. So we're gonna end this stream, restart the phone, but to come right back on our channel. We got Dick and Constance coming up next. Thank you all for coming in tonight. End the stream right there. All right, so let's do that.